Hi, welcome to episode 13 of the Weekly Wave. I'm Matthew Lyons.
And I'm Aaron Johnson.
Our guest here today is English teacher, Miss Patricia Flommer. How are you, Miss Flommer?
I'm doing well, Matt. Thank you. Hi, Aaron.
It's a nice Wednesday.
It is a nice Wednesday. Wave week always helps.
I know. Bit of the rainy season. I'm not going to see a lot of the sun in about a week, but it's all good, yeah.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about literature, and this is the first part of our two-part talk on literature and summer reading. Mm-hmm. So my first question for you is, why is literature important today?
I think it's always been important in a way to help people understand history so that whatever period of time people are writing from sort of shapes the literature that comes from that, so that when you're looking at literature 100 years from now, I think it will say a lot about who we were. So I think literature today is important in telling a little bit about our history and who we were, or who we are now, but who we were in the future. Is that what you mean by your question?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit off topic. It's do you believe that, like, with the rise of technology, with phones and social media, that literature is going to kind of go from this sophisticated kind of language? Because when you're reading books, specifically old books, you see all this robust vocabulary, but as the times go on, it's kind of being more simplified. Do you feel that this understanding of, like, robust literature is going to be, like, tarnished with all these new, like, social media, phones, etc.?
That's a good question. Something that I've been here for 18 years, and something that I do see is I think it's harder nowadays for people to sustain their interest in doing something for a long time. And reading
true.
literature is a very isolating experience because it's not something you're doing with somebody else. And I think that's changed too in society, like we're all connected. So I think that it's going to have, or maybe even already has an effect, social media, in that regard. Just that it's harder for people to stay interested in something for, 5, 10, 15 minutes. So I think that's a negative impact. As far as the writing, like what you're talking about, the vocabulary and maybe the syntax and breaking these rules, I don't really see that much in the classroom where my students don't understand that this is text language and this is language for school and this is language for I'm writing a letter to my future employer or my college admission person. I don't see that, but I think it's maybe rewiring people's brains, as they say, in a lot of studies that I've read.
Yeah.
And I feel like with social media and technology in general, like when someone wonders something or wants something, they look it up and they have it like that.
Yep.
So I think that's a big factor in kind of the impatience of humanity nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah, social media has become, like, a huge theme on the show. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
We always talk about it, how, like, the
It's
ups and
good.
We
downs.
usually
how it
find a way
affects.
we make this show using social media.
Very true.
It's
Very
a
true.
it's a big part of our lives nowadays.
And I guess I could say, too, that's a positive thing about social media, is if you think, hundreds of years ago, you had to go through a publisher to publish your book. It had to go through, juries or whatever it was within the publishing agency. And nowadays, you can self-publish. There's an app that kids use where they rewrite the ends of stories. Do you know that app? I don't remember the name of it.
I don't think so, no.
But there's different things where you can write your own stories. You can self-publish. You could publish just through Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's a form of publishing. So maybe there's more opportunity now for you to get your voices heard, which is a type of writing too.
Right.
So
Yeah, so
that's
if
a
I wanted
positive.
to write an autobiography of a polar bear, I could write that and publish it myself.
Yeah, you could.
My next question is, we kind of touched upon this earlier, but how has literature changed throughout the years?
And that's a great question, too. I don't think it really has. My answer is going to be kind of two-part, because I don't think literature has changed that much. And I say that because literature is about themes about humanity, and humanity really hasn't changed. So people are people. It doesn't matter how far apart they are, what, gender they are, their race, their religion. People are people. And so I don't think literature really has changed because there's only something like less than 10 plot lines. It's a different setting for that plot, or maybe the characters look different, but there's a lot of arguments that there's only like 10 plot lines out of, some even say less. So I don't think the structure of telling a story has changed that much. I don't think theme has changed at all because life lessons are life lessons. But I think the part that has changed is the writer, so the voice of the stories. In teaching American literature, for instance, we sort of go through it chronologically. And at the beginning, the only voices really that we heard in American literature would be white, well-to-do men. And then that starts to change with women finally get a voice. Maybe in like the 1800s, you'll start to see some women writers. And then, it begins to change with the Harlem Renaissance too. You'll have African-American writers. You have immigrants who are publishing and things like that. So I think the voice has changed, but I don't think that literature itself and the themes have changed much or at all.
Going off of that, like when we read Shakespeare, everyone's like, oh my God, I don't understand this at all.
Yep.
Like when we break it down a little bit, like the themes are still themes today.
Yep.
Like love, loss, stuff like that.
Yep. Jealousy,
Resentment
revenge.
over the French. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
that's
can I
awesome.
just plug summer reading real
course.
quick? Because you said
Please
that
do, yeah.
Mrs. Beloshi was going to be coming. So this month, May 1st, kicks off summer reading. And this is the first year we'll have all grades reading for the summer reading program. So we started with just upcoming grades 9 and 10. And now it went to grade 11 last year. And now this year it will be rising 12th graders. We'll be reading something for health classes, health and wellness classes. So all of the students here at Abington High School will be reading over the summer, or hopefully reading over the summer, and talking about books the first few weeks of school next year.
That's great.
Why
Yeah.
do you believe summer reading is important? Because we're going to get this opinion from Ms. Meloshi, but I want to hear it from an actual English teacher. How do you believe it benefits the student?
From studies I've read, it benefits them tremendously because when people don't read over the summer, you experience summer slide, or the person experiences summer slide, and it is cumulative from what I've read, so that by the time a student's in high school, that's where you start to see a deficit between students that have kept up with reading and those that have not. So the gap begins to grow. Probably in like grade 9 is when you really start to see that.
All right, so read your books.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks
awesome.
for having me.
Thanks for watching. Tune in tomorrow to see part 2 of the summer reading discussion.
And make sure to follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Green Gazette.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.